The past 5 years in Ursula von der Leyen's first term as President of the European Commission were marked by crisis and heated geopolitical competition. As a result, EU development policy is now closely linked to the strategic, economic and foreign policy interests of the EU. When announcing Joseph Sikela as new International Partnerships Commissioner, Ursula von der Leyen made clear that she expects him to continue this path. Yet, continuing this overly supply and interest-driven EU approach to international cooperation carries the risk of fueling conflicts of interests with a more confident and assertive Global South. It may also come at the expense of the EU's flexibility to respond to its partners' needs and priorities. Ahead of the Commissioners' hearings in November and the start of their term in December, we at IDOS have put our heads together to publish a joint paper to inform the incoming EU leadership. The European Union's global role in a changing world, challenges and opportunities for the new leadership. In this paper, we identify key challenges and opportunities in 4 key thematic areas, where the EU needs to present ideas of how to reconcile the EU's own interests with those of its partners. First, trade, finance and investment. Second, fragility, migration and democracy. Third, climate, energy and sustainable value chain. And fourth, multilateralism and the post-2030 agenda.
Moving forward, at least 3 issues will be key for the new EU leadership. First, the EU will need to develop a broader narrative on global Europe that gives direction to the EU's external action and replaces the 2016 EU global strategy. This narrative should bring together the EU's own strategic interests with a broader perspective on how the EU plans to contribute towards a global sustainable development. And this new narrative should give direction towards various EU external policies, including migration, trade, investment, and of course, development policy. Second, moving forward, the EU needs to refocus and reform its Global Gateway initiative and redefine the relation between the Global Gateway initiative and the EU's development policy. The Global Gateway initiative, as it currently stands, is becoming a kind of catch-all phrase for various types of economic cooperation that the EU has with various countries across the Global South. And more concretely, what the EU now needs to do is twofold. On the one hand side, it needs to reform the goals and main components of Global Gateway in order to make it more transparent, more concrete and more meaningful and more attractive at the end of the day for the EU's partners. And then on the other hand, the EU needs to develop a new and broader political vision for the EU's development policy because, of course, development policy is broader than the Global Gateway initiative. Finally, moving forward, the EU needs to ensure a strong global Europe budget. If the EU wants to remain a relevant global actor, it needs sufficient funds to engage on global challenges. Realizing a strong budget for global Europe during the upcoming negotiations on the multi-annual financial framework will be a challenge. Because we see budget cuts across EU member states and also more polarized debates on global issues across EU member states. To realize a strong budget for global Europe, like-minded actors across the EU institutions and across EU member states will need to join hands and closely work together.